do you think that OPEC Plus needs to extend this production curve through the month of August?
No, we think they are on track to rebalance the market. And actually, at close to $42 per barrel, I would say that prices currently are at the upper end of our price range. So I don't think OPEC needs to extend it into August. Of course, that being said, it's based on, no absolute destruction of demand in August due to a second wave of COVID-19. But based on the current recovery path that we're projecting, we would expect that the current cuts, which will reduce to 7.7 million barrels per day in August, should be sufficient. And actually, we would see the current cuts basically balancing the market by the end of 2020, which means that they would be able to already to draw down the oversupply that is in inventories today.
Do you think we've hit a bottom when it comes to demand?
It's so hard to tell, right? Because, from one day to the next, this can change. But, demand has recovered spectacularly. Let's say, if we look at demand in April, it was 26 million barrels per day below year-ago levels. In July, we're forecasting it will only be 8 million barrels per day below year-ago levels, and that will drop to 4 million barrels per day by September. And we expect demand to fully recover sometime early 2021. So I think, we think that the demand recovery is going to be very sharp. We would see a largely a V-shaped recovery. But of course, that is depending on what happens now when we see the reemergence of COVID-19. For example, in Beijing, we see parts of the city are being locked down, flights are being cancelled. So of course, if this is extending to a wider part of China, then into the international markets, this will obviously make us re-examine our demand forecast. But right now, we think that demand should recover relatively strongly.
Richard, it's Hadley out in Dubai. We just heard in the last 24 hours or so from the CEO of Aramco. Obviously, they've had to make some job cuts there, but they've committed to making their dividend to investors. Obviously, in the last year or two, the biggest story in the world has been that Aramco IPO and the future of that company and what that could all mean for the economy, frankly, of Saudi Arabia itself. But when you think about this and project forward, how do you feel about Saudi Arabia's situation today? Are they going to be able to make the numbers add up?
Well, longer term, this is probably going to work out relatively well for Saudi Arabia, because if we look at, of course, right now with a 9.7 million barrels per day cut from OPEC Plus, this is a significant drop in market share that they are committing to. However, if we look at the market going forward, we think that OPEC members will be the ones who will be able to recover their production the quickest. So they will feel the least long-term impact from the COVID-19 pandemic. So longer term, going into 2021, we would actually expect that demand for Saudi crude to be relatively strong, and they will be able to recover their production. So in that light, I think, actually Saudi Arabia may become one of the big winners of this.